Welcome to Eye on Horror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 146, otherwise known as Season 8, Episode 6. I am your host, James J. Edwards, and with me, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davison. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing fine. Just got my birthday coming up, so I'm pretty excited about that. And still continuing to be gloomy May.
Are you doing another wake for your birthday? Wake part 2?
No, it's my resurrection. I'm starting my own religion. I'm getting the compound for my birthday.
That's hysterical. Well, you know who's gonna have something to say about this. Let's bring in your other host, John Correa. How you doing, Correa?
Doing well. I gotta say
you'll join his cult, right?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Cult of Jacob. Come on. How could I say no?
Come on. You know you wanna.
Jacob balancing himself in this like Halloween decoration coffin that was just like a little too small on like a table that was a little bit wobbly was quite hilarious. It was a great time. I enjoyed myself greatly.
I lived to entertain.
I'm looking forward to your resurrection.
I've been dead this whole time. I sixth sense this podcast.
You know, look a day over 24. Good job, bud. All right. But let's jump into it because I have nothing to talk about. No, I do. Have you guys heard of this documentary, Predators? And I preface with documentary because I'm not talking about the Adrien Brody Predators, but Predators.
No, I have not.
Nope.
No. All right. So it's a meditative documentary, kind of critical essay about the To Catch a Predator series.
I was going to say, we're talking Chris Hansen Predators.
Oh, the pedo slayer himself? Yeah. And it talks about like the show and its influence on the culture. And one of the and it's really interesting because they get into not only like the ethical questions that the show brings up, but because of like what the show is about, there's so much unaired footage that's publicly available through court system summons and stuff. And so the director actually went through like all the post capture interviews and stuff and like went through it. Cause if for those who don't know what To Catch a Predator is, it was a show on NBC late night, I believe, where Chris Hansen,
not even late night. It was prime time.
It was prime time. It was an event.
It was part of NBC Dateline, I think.
Dateline. And there we go.
Yeah, it was a series of Dateline shows. Yeah.
Yeah, where they would, pretend to be children in chat rooms and get these would-be or potential pedophiles to show up to the house. Chris Hansen would pop out. They would have like an actor pretend to be a child and be like, oh, I'm just going to go get the cookies. Come on in. And
it became kind of a pop culture joke because I think it was one of the MTV Movie Awards. They were doing one of those sketches where a person, the host, goes through all the different movies, and at one point he walks into a kitchen and he's like, what the hell's going on? And then Chris Hansen walks out and goes, have a seat.
Have a seat. Iconic line. Yeah. And it's referenced in Arrested Development,
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's
there was one I saw a cartoon of it where they actually had like a real predator, like a monster predator, and then Chris Hansen pops out and goes, have a seat, to like
I think it was a robot chicken sketch.
Was it yes, there was a robot chicken. Yes, it was.
Well, there's the Boondocks episode with the Booty Warrior where he goes, oh, I'm not here for a child, I'm here for you, Chris Hansen.
Oh god, I remember that.
Yeah, that horrific scene. But so we all know that it was kind of a joke in this phenomenon and stuff. But the thing is, like, and they talk about it a lot in the movie where the crime already happened in the chat room. There's no reason to set up these stings. All of that is purely for camera and for entertainment. So it asks these morality questions of like, who is that for? That's for an audience. What is it when the justice system is turned into a form of entertainment and all these big questions like that? How much of it is like essentially goading people into these situations? How many? Because law enforcement would boast like with these type of stings that a large majority of these arrests were people who have never committed any kind of crime before. And it's like, So it asks a lot of really good questions, and it goes into there's a lot of knockoffs now, especially on YouTube, and they are not done well at all. They actually follow one of these people, and it's the director. It was one of the Q&As that actually was like, it was an interesting Q&A, but the director of the film didn't understand why everyone laughed, because when they followed the YouTube people, the woman who would pretend to be a child on the phone and stuff, she'd be sitting in the motel room, and every single time one of these guys showed up, they would open the door and they go, "Who the fuck are you? You're like 40," to this woman. And she's like, "No, I'm just turning 15." And he's like, "No, what the hell is going on?" Which I thought was the funniest thing ever. That there was like consistently that, but then they would, because they weren't working with local PD, they would just get them there, and then they would call the police. So they would have to sit with the guys for like hours, waiting for the cops to show up. And it was just totally bad. But it's asking that question where it's like you're becoming the vigilantes. They're vigilantes, and like, yeah, there's a lot of really good morality questions in it. He does interview Chris Hansen at some point, and the interview does end with him going, "All right, you're free to go. You're free to walk out the door." The classic, like Chris Hansen, like, you can leave. But
that's the other iconic line. Yeah, you're free to go.
Yeah, but there's just like a lot of these, like, it's great because I've gone through phases with To Catch a Predator. As a kid, that was like the show my dad and I would watch when mom wasn't home because we thought it was the funniest thing ever. And then like in college, I'd watch it. I'm like, this is depressing on a lot of levels, because like there's multiple angles and layers of exploitation happening here, and definitely now as like an adult, it's very not great feelings towards what that program was doing, how they were executing what they were doing, and everything with it. And it just kind of becomes that like blue line pornography, like cops and whatnot. And at the end of the day, you're watching someone's life get ruined, and that's we turn that into a funny thing.
See, that's the thing is, like you said, the crime has already been committed. The charges these guys are up against is usually solicitation of a minor, which happened in the chat room, and they have these reams of chat logs on these people. So the show was all about making these guys squirm. And granted, yeah, in order to arrest them, you have to get them there, and that shows intent, especially when they show up with freaking condoms, or sometimes they'll show up with scary shit like duct tape and rope, and you're like, what was going to happen here? But the charges these guys face, they could have, they didn't need to put it on TV. The crime had been committed. Yeah.
If they face crimes, there was famously one city in Texas where they figured out that the guy they were talking to was a assistant DA or something like that. And instead of, when he wasn't coming to the house, they went to his house with cops, and the man shot himself.
Yes. He was some kind of a politician. Yeah.
And they aired it, and they threw out every single case that they set up there in that town. And it's because, again, these aren't law officials or law enforcement officials that are conducting these stings in the chat rooms themselves. And so how much of that evidence is admissible? How much of it could be entrapment? And
that's exactly what it is. A lot of the cases were dismissed because they consider it entrapment. They're like, if someone goes in posing as, like a 15-year-old girl, and it's a thin line, because they have to be careful not to solicit themselves, and a lot of times they crossed it. So yeah, you're right. A lot of the cases got dismissed, and a lot of them didn't, because I think they did get a lot of creepy people off the streets.
That's the questions that the documentary is dealing with. It's like, on one hand, it's like, yes, we're getting some of the bad guys, but it's like, it's an interesting watch, especially if you grew up during the time when it was airing.
Yeah, and it does make me think about how just recently the Department of Defense was considering starting a reality TV show.
Oh my God!
For people who want to become for immigrants who want to become citizens, and they would televise people being deported.
So you want to be a citizen?
So it does feel like And also, didn't it start kind of in the beginnings of the reality TV craze in the early 2000s?
It was around that time.
It
Yeah,
was a little after, yeah.
it was like a spin-off because Chris Hansen went to another country and did a report on the trade on
Well, and also it
traffic and
started
trade.
as just a segment of Dateline, and then it became its own show because people responded so much to it.
And Chris Hansen has done like 4 alliterations since. He's on like some Blue Line streaming channel with it
Yeah, I
now.
was gonna say you can find it on YouTube. He's made an entire career out of that. Yeah. Let's start talking about some of these new horror movies that here's the deal. We missed another episode. We suck. But this is going to be another one of these catch-up episodes because so much has come out in the last month.
Mhm.
The big thing out right now, let's talk about Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh yeah, that
have
was
you-
good.
Have you guys seen this? Have you seen it, Korea?
Yes, I saw it in IMAX.
Not yet. I want to though.
Okay, here's the deal with it. You know these Final Destination movies, it's all the same movie. It's always the same movie. So what you
Right.
want is these Rube Goldberg machine, death scenes. And in this movie, they are even more out there. I mean, they totally embrace the craziness in these scenes. And what makes this one different is the premonition that always starts all these movies where, something bad happens, someone saves everybody. Well, this one, the premonition is actually a girl having a dream that was her grandmother's premonition. And her grandma saved a bunch of people. It's in this high-rise restaurant and it's so funny because it's typical Final Destination fashion. You've got the kid throwing pennies off the roof. You've got the fire in the pan going off. You've got the cracks in the glass
floor.
dance floor. Yeah. I mean, you're like, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Also, just as an aside, I do love that. Like, it's clearly that they wanted to use like the Seattle Sky Needle or something, but couldn't. So they came up with the sky view.
Yeah, it looks like the Space Needle actually because it goes up there and then it looks like it. But so this woman's grandma ends up saving hundreds of people, and the whole crux of this is death couldn't get through all the people that cheated it. It took a while to get through them, so they all had families. So that's more people that shouldn't exist that death has to come for, and it kind of ties the other 5 movies together with that. So it's a Final Destination movie, but it's Bloodlines, which as a freaking A-side, why are we doing all these Bloodlines movies? There's Pet Sematary Bloodlines, Hellraiser Bloodlines. I mean, what else is there? There's Wrong Turn Bloodlines.
It's just one of those kind of trade sequel subtitles like Resurrection,
Yeah.
Genesis, A
In
New Beginning.
space.
Yeah. In
Yeah,
space. Ooh, yeah, dibs on Amityville Bloodlines. But anyway,
Oh, I also got to say that that this was Tony Todd's final film appearance, and man, did he leave on a high note.
oh yeah, you could tell that he was not well in filming this, but it was so great to see him. And and again, he, as Bloodworth does in all of these movies, he ties the whole thing together, but he wraps it up with a bow. I'd be surprised if they do another Final Destination after this.
Yeah, and also I found out that he improvised his lines. So like his speech about the preciousness of life and appreciating the time we have was just him.
And that's just all the more poignant knowing it was his last movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I would have seen it, but I was too busy spending 3.5 hours at the Egyptian Theater watching the new 4K restoration of the director's cut for Kingdom of Heaven with Jacob.
Oh yeah, so was I.
That's it. It's one of those screenings. I think it was that and Willow. We both had no idea the other one was going. We showed up and it's like, of course you're here. Of course you're here to see Willow on a matinee. Of course you're here to see Kingdom of Heaven. But it's not horror. I'll be real quick. Everyone knows Kingdom of Heaven theatrical was not good at all. They just had all the set pieces, none of the character backstories. I think in the theatrical cut, like Eva Green's character shows up like twice, and it's like, how do you cut out her storyline? It's insane. It's like Napoleon. You knew that Vanessa Redgrave had way more screen time in the director's cut, but Kingdom of Heaven director's cut is an amazing film. It's 3.5 hours long. Get over it. It's the best movie made about the Crusades, and the new restoration is even better because not only is the picture better, but they actually went back and rescored it because the original road shot side the score, they didn't do a full score for the director's cut, so there was some like weirdness with it because they were extending like what was made for the theatrical version. But it's a near perfect film. And having recently watched Ridley Scott's Robin Hood, which is not a good Robin Hood movie, but it is a pretty decent sequel to the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven if you watch them back to back, i.e. kill your entire fucking day. But yeah, Kingdom of Heaven, that's coming out on 4K soon, so definitely check that out.
Yeah. And had a really good time revisiting Willow, which was in honor of Val Kilmer's passing. And you said it best, though, that Val Kilmer in Willow is doing a live action Bugs Bunny.
Oh, absolutely. He is Bugs Bunny in a Lord of the Rings-esque movie. He is literally if Bugs Bunny was playing Aragorn.
Yeah, he's doing a rogue character like from a D&D campaign. And also I do have to highlight that Warwick Davis is so good in Willow. I wish he did get more leading roles like that. I mean, although he's great in all the Leprechaun movies to be sure, but like as a heroic lead, like he's really charismatic in Willow, and he's very sympathetic because he's a family man and he wants to protect his family, but also he wants to help this baby, and he's a trickster guy because he's trying to be a sorcerer, but he has to kind of use whatever cunning he has. And I forgot. It had been years since I'd seen it, and it's held up pretty well. Oh, also all those Phil Tippett effects; those are great.
Oh, the two-headed dragon is phenomenal.
Yeah, the fire-breathing two-headed dragon.
Yeah.
And in terms of new releases, have either of you guys seen They Call Her Death?
Mm-mm. No, but I just heard about that one.
Yeah, no, I was lucky. I got to go to a film print screening of it at the New Beverly on Monday, and it's kind of a throwback to like the old school spaghetti and Euro westerns of the 70s. It's basically about this woman whose husband is framed for murder, so he's killed by bounty hunters, and she knows that somebody set him up, so like they were former outlaws, so she goes back in the saddle and is out for revenge. And it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like one of the kind of grindhouse throwbacks from the 2000s, like Hobo with Shotgun or Grindhouse Machete, that type of thing. It also has some horror elements to it because like she keeps on seeing the specter of death, like the Grim Reaper, so there's these kind of horror dream sequences, plus the gore is like crazy over the top. Without spoiling too much, there is a particularly brutal scene of testicular torture.
Oof.
Yeah. And also it's also kind of a bit of throwback to stuff like Thriller, They Call Her One Eye, and a lot of those revenge thriller exploitation movies. And it's really an incredible independent production too, because the cast and crew were there, and it was made over the course of like 2.5 years in Wichita, Kansas, for like a budget of $40,000. So it just really goes to show that kind of regional ingenuity. And it's on Shudder now too, so like I'd recommend checking it out there if you can. Although it's so cool that they were able to get a film print done and screen it at the New Beverly as a double feature with another infamous Euro pseudo horror western, Cutthroats 9, which was one of Tarantino's main inspirations for The Hateful Eight.
Oh, nice.
Cool. I saw something that it won't be out for another week or so, but it's the new movie from the Filippiu, however you say it, brothers, the guys who made Talk to Me. Bring Her Back.
You were raving about this the other
This
night.
movie's amazing. This movie is intense. This is solidified. Those guys, I'm going to watch anything those guys make. They have been elevated to the level of like Ari Aster and Robert Eggers for me. I'm going to watch anything these guys make from here on out. This movie, basically, there's a visually impaired girl and her stepbrother, and their dad dies, so they get put into foster care. And Sally Hawkins is the foster mom, and she actually lost a daughter. So there's kind of like this mediation on grief on both sides. You know, these kids that lost a parent and a woman who lost a daughter. But of course, it's not just grieving a daughter that this woman is doing. There's crazy stuff going on. And Sally Hawkins is amazing at this. It reminds me of Octavia Spencer in Ma, or Isabelle Huppert in Greta, just this Oscar caliber actress who's kind of slumming it in this, what is kind of a grindhouse horror movie, because it's weird. It's kind of I don't really want to spoil anything, but and they kind of go into this in the trailer. It's kind of like an occult possession thing, but not really. But it's so crazy. It's so intense. It is really, again, not to spoil anything, but the little promo thing they gave away at the screening was a little thing of bring her back dental floss. That'll give you a little teaser on what's coming up. But oh my God, bring her back is so good.
I'm glad it's good, because I think Sally Hawkins skipped out on Paddington in Peru for this, so it better have been good.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a bold choice, but it worked out because she's awesome in it. Yeah,
you would have thought that she would have wanted to do Paddington after that if it's such an intense movie. Needing. I mean, come on, there's a singing nun.
And yeah, Antonio Banderas in multiple roles and doing kind of a Green Goblin split personality thing.
Yeah, Paddington in Peru was fun.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of Talk to Me, so I am very excited to see Bring Her Back.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Another thing, let's go back a little bit since we haven't talked in a while. Do you guys see Thunderbolts?
Yes, I did.
No, not yet.
Thunderbolts is it's a lot of fun. It kind of lost me towards the end, because basically Thunderbolts, they're kind of assembling the new Avengers. Not the Avengers are gone. But the thing is with it is there's only one with special power. Well, two if you count something that's a bit of a spoiler. But you've got assassins and super soldier. Super Soul, that's all they are. But David Harbour's character, and he was in Black Widow. He's kind of like the Russian Captain America. He is hysterical in this.
Oh yeah, no, he's great.
He's like the comic
Red
relief,
Guard,
because he totally wants to. He's the one who's embracing, let's form this team, and the others are all kind of like, I work alone. I don't really want to do this. And he's like, oh no, we are, and they name it after Elena, the Black Widow's sister. Widow. Yeah, the new Black Widow. Her soccer team when she was younger is the Thunderbolts, and that's where they get their name. And no one wants to call it Thunderbolts, but they don't have any better ideas. So
it also was it was her soccer team that never won.
Yeah, they never won. But David Harbour's character, he keeps going, we are Thunderbolts. And that's why there's an asterisk on it, because they want to be the new Avengers, kind of, or not want to be. They're getting thrust into it. But it's fun as far as these new Marvel movies go. It's interesting to see what Marvel is trying to do, because it seems like they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I think Thunderbolts might be sticking.
Yeah, it did feel like kind of a return to form for Marvel, in that, it was more character focused rather than got to save the world and just kind of this big high concept stuff. It's just fun to kind of have a bunch of these characters and personalities clash and kind of be a more personal story. I was also a big fan of the character Bob, without going into it too much, who's kind of a burnout who finds himself in an extraordinary situation. And I was a big fan of Julia Louis-Dreyfus in the movie, who plays kind of the government oversight person, but who's also very corrupt and is basically if Selena Myers from Veep was a Marvel character. So, she knows how to play it.
Yeah, she is was the head of this, or it was her brainchild. Was it called the Sentry program?
Yeah, Sentry program.
Yeah. So and it was kind of an offshoot of the Captain America, the super soldier thing, but way on a bigger level. And she's trying to kind of cover her tracks the whole time because it was considered unethical. And this takes place in the universe. They make reference to the fact that the president turned into a big red Hulk. They go back to Brave New World a little bit. They mention it, so it's in the same universe. But yeah,
nice.
Another franchise movie that I saw that it might be worth talking about just for a second. Another Simple Favor. Either of you guys see Another Simple Favor?
Dude,
No.
this is how I know that the last few weeks have been hell for me, because I haven't watched the new A Simple Favor sequel. Like, that's insane.
This movie, okay, let me set it up for you. Blake Lively's character, Emily, is in jail for murder. When we last left you in A Simple Favor,
Right.
And Stephanie, the Anna Kendrick character, has written a book about the case, a true crime book. Well, she's at a book signing, and freaking Emily walks in. She's out of jail on appeal, and she asks Stephanie to be her maid of honor at her wedding in Italy. Capri Island in Italy. And there's so much wrong with this premise right from there.
Love it.
But then Stephanie is like, why would I go somewhere with you of all people? And she says that, she kind of threatens her with like suing her because of her book and all this other. So anyway, she goes. And of course, there's murder and mayhem on the island. It's a little more, the thing is, Paul Feig, there's no way he could do another A Simple Favor, because people expect, it was such a breath of fresh air knowing that he's so doing like comedy, and this is more of like a mystery suspense kind of a thing. Well, this time he leans a little more into the comedy, and it is a little more far-fetched, but it kind of works.
The original works so well because there's always like the mystery is really good, but there's this underlining of just like diva-ness, or as some would say, like cuntiness to it, that just like pops off real well. Definitely like the camp factor was there with their performances, which mixed with like these over the top, very like Blake Lively had like a new outfit that was just like everything in every scene. So as long as they keep serving that, like I'm all for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Another new thing that came out, and I think I don't know if it's on Shudder yet, but it's heading there, I think. Clown in a Cornfield.
Oh, yes.
Did you watch Clown in a Cornfield?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, I actually got a link for it, but it is in theaters now. What'd you think of Clown in a Cornfield?
I loved it. Big fan of Adam Cesaire's work, and it was directed by Eli Craig, who did Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which I'm a big fan of. So, it's a great match, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. It's got a clown, it's got a cornfield, it's got a lot of dead teenagers.
It's another one of those ones that you don't really want to spoil too much about because there are some fun surprises, but it's weird because it's a better movie than it should be, because you think Clown in a Cornfield, this is going to be like one of those asylum horror movies. And it kind of does have that feel. It kind of has that big budget, little story kind of a feel to it. It has a little more story than you would expect to it, but it delivers on its premise. There's a clown, there's a cornfield, and there's lots of carnage.
And it's funny that it's more of a throwback to 90s horror slashers, because like the prologue even has kind of a segment set in 1991, I think. And because it's kind of a slasher mystery where you got the clown friendo, and he's picking people off one by one, and you don't know who it is, and there's a lot of mystery as to who and why. So it does have kind of a Scream edge to it.
What it is this town, Kettle Springs is what it's called,
Mississippi.
Yeah, and this town used to the economy of the town was built around this corn syrup factory, and Friendo the clown was the mascot of this corn syrup factory. And the corn syrup factory burned down, so the town is basically, most of the town is out of work. So there's kind of like that whole depressed, economy kind of a thing, that the kids all want out of the town, and the adults are trying to basically just make ends meet in the town. And then all of a sudden the icon from the brand that was keeping the town afloat starts killing people. So there's kind of an underlying message to it too. It's more than just, a clown killing teenagers. Although there is plenty of clown killing teenager action in it.
Hey, as long as it delivers on the title,
It does.
There's a clown. He's in a cornfield. Fuck yeah, let's do it. I got an amazing package from the amazing folks over at Ignite Films. It's the 40th anniversary Reanimator 4K set.
Nice.
Which, if anyone knows me, Reanimator is one of the all times for me. This is, I think I own almost as many copies of this as I do the John Carpenter's The Thing. I will never stop buying new restorations of Reanimator. And I got to say, Ignite Films knocked it out of the park again, because they did the incredible 4K release for the original Invaders from Mars, which I think if you own a 4K player, you need to own that. But this one, they went above and beyond. Like, I know you guys can't see it because it's a podcast and we don't do video, but it's a thick set. It comes with a booklet, a new book, art cards. The restoration itself is absolutely phenomenal. They really went through, really cleaned it up. Jacob, I think we saw the 4K restoration at that screening last year.
At the Egyptian
with Jeffrey Combs and all that,
and Robert Crampton.
It looks incredible. The film has aged beautifully.
Oh yeah.
And the great thing about Reanimator is you see the seams, but it's a part of the fun. Like it's one of the special features on it. They talk about how when you see an effect happening on it, you can tell how it's done, and that's awesome. Like, and you can see it even more in 4K. It's all on display. But they have a lot of the legacy bonus features from previous cuts. It's the director's cut that's in 4K for those wondering. But they do include the integral cut as well on Blu-ray. But they shot a whole bunch of new special features. There's a 40-minute interview with Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs, and Brian Usna. There's an interview with the editor, like a 20-minute retrospective on the impact where they interview people like Joe Lynch and the director of Boogeyman, the recent one, and a bunch of others. They interview with Carolyn Purdy Gordon, and also one thing that was of real interest to me, because I've been reading Stuart Gordon's book, Naked Theater and Uncensored Horror, is they have a decently length documentary looking back on Reanimator the musical and what went behind that, which was very late stage theater, Stuart Gordon. But they also have a documentary from 1977, which is all about the Organic Theater Company of Chicago, which is where Stuart Gordon got a start, did a lot of live theater. They were doing a lot of original productions. So it's really cool seeing those very important pieces of Stuart Gordon's life, which is live theater, and the bookends of them. So yeah, I mean, if you own a 4K player, obviously, if you love Reanimator, you got to get this new set. It's absolutely incredible. I won't be getting rid of my old ones just because I have trouble letting go of things. I'm a bit of a hoarder, but this new one, it's damn near definitive. It is definitive. It's Reanimator's never looked better, and the amount of features on it, like I spend a whole day just going through them, and I haven't even finished watching all of them. It's fantastic.
When you say the guy who directed Boogeyman, is that Rob Savage?
There we go. Yes.
Okay. The guy who did Host. Yeah.
Yeah. I was sitting here like, why am I forgetting his name? It's like not a hard name to remember. Rob Savage, like, come on.
It's a good name.
We were fans of his from Host too.
Yeah. I still need to see Boogeyman.
I really liked it.
Yeah. Boogeyman is cool as far as Stephen King adaptations go.
I know. I love King adaptations.
You know what I saw? They had another one of those voodoo sales that it was super cheap. There was a two movie bundle. Kriya knows where this is going. For $5, the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movies.
Oh boy! I
had seen the first one. I had not seen the second. The second is actually a pretty solid. There's more story to it, and it kind of goes more into Christopher Robin's the mental torment. You know, it's. I mean, granted, it is just a lot of these characters killing people, but you have Owl and Tigger now, and Owl is crazy. Owl kind of looks like the comic book Spider-Man Vulture. And Tigger was a little disappointing because they make a big deal about they keep him locked away in this room, and I was expecting something like the Berserkers from Nightbreed, but he comes out and he just kind of looks like Pooh or Piglet, but with like a bouncy tail, so he's not, but I mean,
Does he bounce?
No, he doesn't bounce, that's another disappointment. But yeah, it's there's a little more story to it, but it is pretty much just a gore fest.
So you've watched, did you also get Piglet? Because I know Piglet was on the sale too.
Is that the same the same franchise? Oh, I believe I didn't,
so, because
I didn't get Piglet.
I was gonna say, Jay, are you gonna watch all of these? Because there's a bunch of connected ones. There's Peter Pan's Nightmare or Nightmare Land. I think
there's
they're doing
a Tigger one, right?
Yeah, I think that one hasn't come out yet though. And then they're gonna do like a big Avengers thing. There's a Bambi one. I think there's like a cinematic universe with it.
Have you seen the Popeye one? I've only seen the
teaser.
Not even that. The poster. And of course, Popeye's got freaking forearms the size of his thighs.
Popeye the Slayer, man.
Popeye the Slayer, man. That's what it is.
I mean,
that's what they went with,
and it's brilliant.
I mean, I feel like that's like just once they're all out, it's like, all right, let's dedicate a weekend to this. Let's do it. Let's jump into it. Let's go in open-minded and open-hearted,
Pretty much. And speaking of camp, in terms of repertory screenings, I was at a midnight show of one of the all-time great cult classics, Troll 2, last Saturday.
Oh, Troll 2.
Yeah, you guys have all seen Troll 2.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you didn't piss on their hospitality, Jacob, because I won't allow it.
Nope. Did not piss on hospitality. I learned my lesson a long time ago.
Good.
But yeah, no, just... it'd been a while since I rewatched it, and also it was cool because it was a 35 millimeter print, and I don't think I've ever seen Troll 2 on film. But yeah, no, it is just such a fun crowd movie still. Just all this stuff with the grandpa got a big reaction out of the audience, and like I don't think the audience really knew how to respond during the popcorn sex scene in the RV, and yeah, no.
Don't know how to respond. You get into it. That scene's hot.
Yeah, no, a friend of mine was saying she should have spit in his mouth like Haley Stanfield in Sinners.
And
and also they're eating her, then they're gonna eat me. Oh my god. I got like a standing ovation. It was pure cinema. And yeah, just I do still really appreciate these so bad it's good kind of cult horror because it's like great community screenings. And I did I ever tell you guys I was in the documentary Best Worst Movie?
We're not doing this again. We're not doing this again, Jacob. We're not doing this again. Stop.
He's gonna go looking for you again.
I will.
No, I swear to God, I'm in there. You could see me in a group hug with George Hardy, the dad.
Oh,
the dentist dad.
This is all productivity of my day is gone now. Just going to be scanning.
Another thing that I saw, and I think Jacob saw it too, but Korea has not. So we want to stay pretty spoiler free, but I do want to talk about it. Friendship.
Oh, yes. Friendship.
Okay. Friendship. This is Paul Rudd's 1-2 punch between it and Death of a Unicorn for A24. Friendship it's about this kind of loser dude who makes friends with his cool neighbor, who the cool neighbor is Paul Rudd.
Yeah, it's Tim Robinson who's playing the loser guy from I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah. Okay, it's questionably horror, but you can put it in a horror lens. Here's the deal with it. And I really don't want to spoil any of this for Korea, but I'm going to give you a different lens to watch this in Korea because I've been struggling with this one. I think that I think he manufactures his friendship with Paul Rudd's character. And if you look at it through comparing it to like King of Comedy or even Joker, where you're not sure how reliable the narrator is, and then you start questioning yourself, okay, well, how much of this really happened? And where Friendship doesn't do it quite as well as those others is it doesn't really lift the curtain. It doesn't really give you the answer. It doesn't, give you the answer. whereas those other ones let you know towards the end, okay, Joker has been lying to us this whole time. This one doesn't really do that, but it just gave me a new way to look at it. I'm like, because it's the first thing that makes you wonder about it is there's no way that this loser dude would get a wife as hot as Kate Mara. you're like, okay, something isn't add up here. And she does. And again, I don't know how much this is just through his eyes. She hangs out a lot with one of her exes. So he's kind of projecting and he's like kind of suspicious, but also kind of getting cuckolded. And you're like, well, which is it? I don't know. It's a weird, it doesn't go to the dark places you'd expect it to, but there's definitely some therapy that needs to be had in this movie. What did you think of it?
I really loved it. I thought it was so funny. And it's funny that it was not written by Tim Robinson, but it's very in line with his type of humor from like I Think You Should Leave and that kind of cringe comedy. But yeah, I do feel like there's a bit of a horror lens to it because it is a lot about obsession and he's stalking his cool neighbor. And so it does have kind of that cable guy edge to it for modern times. I also love that the tagline of the movie is men shouldn't have friends.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, men shouldn't have friends.
No.
That's the tagline of the movie. And it is kind of dealing with how like a friendship can spiral out of control, though it just takes it to an entirely different level. And there's a really great scene where he's so desperate to try and figure his shit out that he tries to do drugs and he's convinced to try licking a toad, and I won't say what happens, but it's incredible what they do with that.
The toad, and he, the guy who sets him up with the toad. It's like a quick little thing where he goes $100. He's like, well, what do I feed it? He's all, no, $100 per lick.
Yeah,
it's
but
awesome.
Yeah, no, just it is just such a fun dynamic and. It is an interesting movie because I actually went to a pre-screening of it and the director even said that he wrote the movie as a response to having a falling out with a friend or like he was trying to be friends with this guy and he was rejected. So this is the response.
He is Tim Robinson.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Before we go, I have a Book Nook recommendation because if you're like me and you have become obsessed with Sinners, I actually saw it for a third time, this time in IMAX 70 millimeter, which, gorgeous screening, gorgeous. I was crying so much at the end. But if you're obsessed and there's a bit of a hole in your heart because you can't really go see it again and you already saw it in IMAX, I got really into this comic book series. It's called Bitter Root. And it's absolutely phenomenal. It takes place predominantly during the Harlem Renaissance of the 1930s, and it follows this family. They're like demon hunters, and they hunt these creatures called Jinyu, which is what happens to humans whose hearts and souls are filled with so much hatred and racism that they become these creatures. And it's this black family. They've been fighting it for generations. Ma Etta, she's the matriarchy of the family, and no one knows her age, but she keeps saying that she was freed by Harriet Tubman, and like they lost families at the Tulsa race massacres, and there's so much about generational trauma and racism, but with all in the context of like horror, and it's so much fun. It's like Lovecraft Country meets Ghostbusters essentially, but with like far more of a steampunk aesthetic. The artwork is incredible. The story and characters are super rich. I think Legendary already has the adaptation rights to it, so I hope they do something. But the original run is already collected in an omnibus, and they have a new series called Bitter Root: The Next Movement, which I haven't gotten into yet, but the covers for it have this very like 1950s, 60s futurism, kind of like what the new Fantastic Four looks like, but mixed with like Afrofuturism and a bit of blaxploitation influence. So like, yeah, Bitterroot, especially if you have that Sinner's Itch, I highly recommend. It is such a great read.
Sinner's Itch is the name of my next band.
Oh,
Ooh, ooh,
that is a good band name.
I hate when people do band names, but that is a good band name.
And speaking of Book Nook, like I just started rereading, or I started reading Stephen King's Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I think I rewatched. Oh yeah, because I rewatched Creepshow a couple weeks ago, and I was in the mood for some Stephen King, so I decided. Been a while since I picked up one of the anthologies, and Nightmares and Dreamscapes seemed to have a good mix of a lot of the shorts I liked, particularly adaptations, because like it's got the Night Flyer in there. I think it has. Well, it has all the stories that were in the Nightmares and Dreamscapes miniseries way back when, and also has some stories that were never adapted but are pretty fun, like Rainy Season. And yeah, just it'd been a while since I've read King, but yeah, he just has such a hook and such a way with really getting you into a premise, no matter how ridiculous or how fast.
How can you be sure that it hasn't been adapted with all of the thousands of King adaptations that are just like, the dollar babies and stuff?
Fair point. But yeah, some of there's still some stuff that hasn't been adapted just because of the sheer amount of short stories that Stephen King has written. I mean, how many anthologies are there? Good God.
I mean, it's an insane amount. I'm trying to get through my Swamp Thing run as well as Bitterroot before I crack into the Bachman books, which is a collection of 4 early novels that he did under Bachman, including the one that was never reprinted.
I was gonna say, do you the school shooting one, right? What's it called? Rage.
Yeah.
Rage. Yeah. So you have a copy of it that has Rage in it, then?
Yeah, it's definitely not as rare as the just Rage on its own books, but it's a cool collection. I'm looking forward to it. I think it also has Running Man in there. I don't.
Yeah, Running Man is one of the.
I'm staring at it on my shelf, but I can't reach it. My headphones won't allow me to. But yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we're pretty much just done here. Apologize for a couple things, for the short episode for one, and also for missing a week because, hey, we all just kind of got busy and
life happens.
Yeah. And this is also why we're on both accounts, why we missed a week and this one's getting cut short. So yeah, hope you like the episodes where we just catch up because who knows when we'll do another topic or guest. Maybe we should just do these.
Just once a month? No.
We're switching to once a month, just the three of us talking.
We'll see.
I'm not even going to promise that we're going to see you in 2 weeks because last time I did that, I ended up with egg on my face. If you miss my voice in the times we're not here, you can hear it on the Cryptozoo, which does still go every 2 weeks. And if you miss Jacob's voice, the Hallow Rewind has been pretty consistent too at putting episodes out, so you can hear him there. If you miss Korea's voice, I don't know, maybe send a message to us. He might be able to. He can send you his Red Right Hand a cappella.
Yeah,
rendition.
If you miss my voice, I'm gonna say tough titties. But you can also message us on Instagram, and I'll rant about X-Files or Star Trek at you if you want. Especially X-Files. I want season 5 right now.
Oh, get him started the Star Trek. Yeah, actually, do get him started about Star Trek so he does it to you guys and not us.
Well, I mean, if you get me started on X-Files, just get ready for me to refer to Skinner and Mulder as baby girl quite a bit because it's. Oh, don't even get me started because X-Files, I think, is proof that we need to go back to the 22 episode season.
God, I dream of the day.
Oh, yeah. Twilight Zone did that for me. Like the classic Twilight Zone, when you look at how long those seasons are, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, and Twilight Zone needs to be a half hour. This whole hour-long Twilight Zone episodes, guys, that's what killed the original series. Stop when you're re-adapting it, making an hour. Half hour, tight, in, out.
Go in, go out.
Ugh. I always say Twilight Zone is the only show that jumped the shark and then jumped back because it was the 4th season where they went to an hour, and those are they're pretty tedious, but then
some of them are good, but yeah,
the 5th season has some of the most memorable episodes though. You're like, when they went back to a half an hour, they went back to a half.
Like the 5th season is what got us Nightmare at 20,000 feet.
Hell yeah. which stars William Shatner. So the thing about Star Trek, no.
Yeah. Okay, we're out of
Captain
here.
Kirk.
Yeah, if you want to hear Korea's Star Trek Nook, message him. But we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you. Hopefully 2 weeks, but I'm not going to make promises anymore because yeah, our theme song is by Restless Spirit, so go check them out. They are on tour everywhere all the time, so you could probably see them before you'll see us again. Go and our artwork is by Chris Fisher, so go check him out. You can see his artwork anywhere. And you can find us on all the socials if you do want to hear Korea talk about Star Trek. Again, if you miss me or Jacob, that's the Cryptozoo and the Hallow Rewind. Yeah, I'm going to plug those because, hey,
hell yeah,
not as many people listen to the Cryptozoo as iHorror. I don't know about Hallow Rewind, but anyway, so yeah, this sign off's taken longer than it should. So I'm just going to say, we'll see you when we see you. For me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
And I'm Jonathan Korea.
Keep your eye on horror.